Hello everybody, this is Ren speaking. Recently I've had a few questions over on Reddit about world building, so I thought, why not make a mini tutorial series about just that, world building. What is world building, you ask? Let me explain. World building is the process of constructing an imaginary world, sometimes associated with a fictional universe. I totally didn't read that off Wikipedia, by the way. What it boils down to is how you create your own fictional world, and for lots of games, the world you roam in is an essential part of the gameplay. I mean, think about it. What would Zelda Breath of the Wild be without its massive open world? Yeah, no. A good looking world really sells your game, and allows players to immerse themselves in whatever story you've created. In this tutorial series, we're focusing purely on the visual aspect, because I'm not planning on making over 9,000 videos. Now, in this video we're talking about lighting. As some of you may already know, lighting is fairly limited in the GBG engine. We have three types of lighting in GBG. The Spotlight, which is the light effect node on, Sun and Moonlight, which is controlled by the world node on, and Ambient Light, which is also controlled through the world node on. Some objects do also emit light, like the rocket, but I won't count those as they're not really a light source. The light effect node on is basically a giant sphere that emits light. You can adjust its size, but that's about it. No colors, no intensity, it's just a spotlight. These limits aren't necessarily a bad thing, you just have to be a bit more creative. Take this scene for example. It looks fine, but perhaps a little dull. Let's fix that. Let's grab a light effect node on. First connect it to a constant node on. Then make sure to change the settings to while not zero and world and make it invisible. This right here is our object that's emitting light. In this case, it's a window. Something to keep in mind is that the center of the light node on is the brightest, so depending on your object you might need to change the intensity. To visualize, this is our object. Placing the light here will result in low intensity. This is medium intensity, and placing it here results in high intensity. The windows lets through a small amount of light, so let's make it low intensity. It's looking good, but now we only have the source. Light travels and therefore touches all objects in its way. Let's add one more light node on. We want this to really light up the table and bits of the chair, so we'll put it right here. Keep in mind there's no right or wrong here. Making the lighting involves a lot of trial and error and might take a while to perfect. So there you go, light shining through a window. Here's another more complex example of how you can use the light node on to create a light source. Now, let's check out the sun and moonlight. The lighting of your world can be changed from the world lighting tab in the world node on. You can choose from 5 different times: noon, evening, night, pitch black, and outer space. In terms of light, outer space and night are practically the same. Evening gives that late night summer feeling, and noon is just really bright. You can also change the sun direction and height, and that might be more important than you think. This setting is the only setting in which you can control the shadows. While the placement of your shadows may seem irrelevant, it adds a lot to the overall cinematic feel of your game. Let's look at this castle hallway. There's 2 windows, but it's not clear where the light is coming from, nor are there any shadows. Let's play around with the height. Right, 20 seems good. There you go. There's our moon. It shines off the castle onto the other wall, casting all the shadows of the objects in front of it. I encourage you to experiment with the world lighting in your own world, because it might end up looking a lot better. Something I only recently found out was that you can change your world's ambient lighting, and it's surprisingly simple. What you need is the texture node on and the world node on. For this ambient lighting to work, you unfortunately can't use the none option in world shape. If none is selected, this won't have any effect. Okay, first let's look at the scene without the ambient lighting. Now, let's grab a texture node on. To really see the effect clearly, let's use a bright color, like yellow. That's a lot more yellowy. The change is subtle, but that's usually the case with lighting like this. And And that's about it. If this video has helped you make your world better, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. I hope this video helped you out, and maybe you even learned a couple new things. I'll see you all in a future video. Bye bye.